Every time you make a threat you don't follow through on, your child learns something. They learn that your words don't always mean what they say. And once they've learned that, it's very hard to unlearn. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening when consequences don't land, why it happens, and the simple shift that changes everything. Okay, so picture this. It's a Tuesday evening, your child is on their tablet. You've already asked them twice for it to be turned off. Nothing has happened. So you say it. If you don't turn it off right now, there will be no tablet tomorrow. They don't move. So you say it again. I mean it, turn it off, or there's no tablet tomorrow. Still nothing. And eventually, either you raise your voice and they respond to that, or you give up and let it go. And tomorrow, the tablet comes out again because life moved on, because you forgot, because it felt too exhausting to follow through. Does this sound familiar? Here's what your child took from that moment. Not that there are consequences, but that there aren't. Not that you mean it, but that if they wait long enough, nothing actually happens. And they didn't decide that to be difficult. They learned it from experience, because experience is the most powerful teacher a child has. Now, let me show you what happens at school when a boundary is crossed. A child does something they shouldn't. The teacher responds calmly and clearly. That's not okay. This is what's going to happen now. And then it happens. No negotiation, no second chance, no remembering to follow it through tomorrow. It happens right then, every time. And the next time that child thinks about crossing that boundary, they already know what follows. Not because they're scared of the teacher, but because experience has taught them this boundary is real. It doesn't move, it doesn't disappear overnight, it stays exactly where it was put. And that predictability, that absolute reliability of consequence is what makes the boundary mean something. Children don't respect boundaries because they're told to. They respect boundaries because they've learned they're real. Here's the part that's hardest to hear. Every empty threat doesn't just fail to work in that moment. It actively teaches your child that boundaries are negotiable. Think about that. They've tested the boundary, nothing happened. So they test it again, nothing happened. So they test it again, and each time the boundary becomes less real, less meaningful, less worth responding to, until you find yourself repeating the same instructions 5 times, wondering why they never listen, when actually they've been listening perfectly. They've just learned that listening doesn't need to happen until the 5th time, or until the shouting starts, or until you really mean it. And the painful truth is, you taught them that, not intentionally, not because you're a bad parent, but because you're human, and following through is hard, especially when you're tired, especially when it's easier to let it go just this once. But just this once, repeated enough times, becomes the pattern. If you're watching this and thinking, I do this and I don't always know how to stop that moment, that's exactly why I created the Steady Words Pack. Calm, clear phrases that help you hold the boundary, without the shouting, without the repeating, without the negotiating. It's completely free. You'll find it in the link in the description. Grab it now and then come back. I want you to imagine something for a moment. Imagine you're at work. Your manager tells you, if that report isn't finished by Friday, there will be consequences. Friday comes. The report isn't finished. Nothing happens. The following week, I really need that report. If it's not done by Monday, there will be consequences. Monday comes. Still nothing. How serious would you take the next deadline? That's exactly what's happening for your child. They're not being defiant, they're being rational. They've learned from experience that the consequence isn't coming. So why rush? Why change? Why take the boundary seriously? Now imagine the manager follows through once. Clearly, calmly, without drama. Suddenly, every deadline feels different. Not because the manager shouted, but because the consequence was real. Your child needs that same experience. Not harshly, not loudly, just reliably. So, how do you change this pattern? 3 things. First, only say it if you mean it. Before you give a consequence, ask yourself, am I actually prepared to follow through on this right now? If the answer is no, don't say it. Because a consequence you can't follow through on is worse than no consequence at all. It adds another layer of evidence that boundaries aren't real. So keep it simple. Keep it immediate. Keep it something you can actually do. Second, follow through the very first time. Not after the third warning, not tomorrow, right now. Calmly, without drama, without a long explanation. Just, this is what I said would happen. This is what's happening now. And then it's done. No guilt, no going back. No giving it back 5 minutes later because they are upset. The consequence stays. Third, repair afterwards. Following through doesn't mean being cold. Once the moment has passed, once everyone is calm, you reconnect. You don't remove the consequence, but you come back to your child. That was difficult. I love you. We move forward. Because boundaries keep children safe, and repair keeps relationships strong. Those two things are not in conflict. They work together. The next time you feel the pull to make a threat, pause and ask yourself, can I follow through on this right now? If yes, say it once, follow through, stay calm. If no, don't say it. Because one follow-through consequence is worth more than 100 empty threats. Your child doesn't need more warnings. They need to know that you mean what you say, every time. And when you know that, everything changes. If this video has helped, the Steady Words pack is in the description. Free download, 30 seconds to grab. Calm, clear phrases for exactly these moments. Subscribe for more every Tuesday and Thursday, and I'll see you in the next one.